Welcome into Onorato and Bagnardi. Sean Bagnardi, Chris Onorato. If you're hanging out this morning on the radio, boom, here we are on Facebook. We do this every Wednesday afternoon on 104.5 The Team, ESPN Radio's Facebook page.
When hearing is not enough, now you can see the full experience.
Full experience. Facial expressions, physical fights as we debate.
Yes.
Whatever we give you here. Visually, you get it. That's the bonus. That's the advantage of doing the show here on Facebook, which we love doing.
We have whiteboards and
If you
videos.
weren't here, yeah, exactly. If you weren't with us last week and you didn't hear the news, you definitely wouldn't have heard it if you weren't with us last week. We are moving. So next week we're back on Wednesday, but once the football season really kicks off, what did you say, Sean? Yesterday we're driving around Lee Infinity. How did you describe it?
We'll be on now the first Monday after the first Sunday in football season.
First Monday after the first Sunday.
And then every Monday after during football season.
On 104.5 The Team's ESPN Radio Facebook page. So thanks for hanging out, everybody. We're brought to you by Leah Infinity, Leah Cars for Life, the program they call Luxury for Less. Sean and I are going to hop over to Leah Infinity today on Route 9 in Latham in the Capital Region and drive the Q50S. A lot of horsepower. I've got a heavy foot. Sean's got a heavy foot. This may not go well. But we'll have some fun with it, no doubt.
Am I driving today?
I think you should.
I mean, you get to drive this car way too much.
I know. This is a do-over, if you will, for us. So, yeah, maybe Bags gets to drive it today. Are the Mets driving a car towards the playoffs here, or did they blow a tire last night against the Cubbies?
I don't know that they blew a tire. More of a, we got to stop for gas. You blow a tire, you're in some real trouble.
Yeah, you would.
Getting gas is like a little delay, a little hiccup in the travel.
Pit stop.
There's a pit stop.
Okay.
It stinks. You get the Alonso home run.
Yeah, you're feeling good.
Sets the Mets single season record, passing Beltran and Hundley. You're feeling good. The place is alive. I said to you on the radio, Citi Field in that moment, to me, felt like Citi Field did when we made the World Series push after we traded for Cespedes. It's got that kind of, like, the weather is even cooler.
Right.
It just feels like you're coming into fall and playoff time, and the games matter. And that was a big moment in a huge game. And then you've got the letdown. Typical Mets stuff, right? You get this high, and then the big low, coming back down to earth and dropping the game. Stroman looked so good early, and then it just kind of fell off the table. A couple of two-run home runs, and all of a sudden now you're playing from behind, and they could never come back.
Bill Baker said on Facebook, so you'll see it, guys. You can comment below. We'll react in real time here. Bill Baker says, love the Mets, but Mickey's driving a clown car. So does that mean the Mets players are clowns, or is Mickey the ringleader of these clowns?
No, I think Bill and some other Mets fans who I speak to have got a real problem with Mickey.
Still,
yeah. Continue.
Are we going all the way back to the Steven Matz thing, 79 pitches, you pull him? Are we going all the way back to that, or is there something more recent that you feel like? Because, look, in that sweep against the Braves, I don't know that Callaway mismanaged anything this past weekend, did he? Something I missed?
No, the team can't hit. They cannot hit.
All
of a sudden, and that's the worst part, it's like the lineup can be so good and then so bad. It's like when everybody's clicking, you've got guys like, of course, Alonso, and now McNeil back, you figure, everything will be a lot better. Rosario's hitting better than ever, and you got Conforto in there, and it's like, where did that go all of a sudden? We've got that core group of guys who are supposed to be at least two of them clicking at the same time, and it's like we hit these stretches where nothing. Now, you got to give some credit to Atlanta. Atlanta's a good team.
Yeah.
They're a really good team, and the Mets got beat by a better team. They did not look like playoff ready to me in that series. But you figure maybe a little bit of a bounce back, right? You're home against the Cubs. The Cubs are coming into town. You know what's on the line. You enter last night 2 games behind them for that second wild card spot. You expect a little bit of that bounce back. And maybe it starts tonight with Syndergaard and DeGrom tomorrow. But you wanted that that bounce back, the lineup's going to be okay, and it just never happened.
And when you feel, and I know you don't feel this way, and I'll let you explain yourself here in a second, but when you feel like you're going into a series that you need to win, quote, need to win, it always, that first game always has a little more importance and emphasis on it. Like, even though we only need to win 2 out of 3, I'd rather lose the middle game or the last game. I don't want to lose that first one because it feels like, okay, we get the first one out of the way. Now we need one more. And my gosh, if we get one more tonight with Syndergaard on the mound, then it's like gravy because then you're talking about potentially a sweep.
Well, and that's the thing. You don't go into a 3-game series 2 games back and even think, let's just take 2 out of 3 and only gain 1 game.
Yeah, but that would be nice.
That would be nice.
Yeah.
But as a fan, you think, here's our shot to just jump past them. And then after game 1, it's so deflating because now it's like, well, the best we can do tonight is get back to where we were yesterday.
Right.
And then the best we can do in this series is just make up 1 game when we had an opportunity to make up 3 games. You know, that's where the frustrating part, because in your head, that's a big difference. We know you can't make up 2 games. You can't do it. But you still think to yourself, okay, we have a chance to make up 3.
Yep.
Like, we should at least somehow get 2. Well, no, you can only either make up 1, right, or get swept or sweep. So that's where game 1, and then, too, you're thinking, if we can get Stroman out of the gate and get game 1 with what's behind it, like you said, now all the chips are lined up. And when it doesn't happen, it just kills you because now you're 3 back. You're 3 back.
Syndergaard, Hendricks tonight. DeGrom, Lester to finish up the series against the Cubs. Why is this series so important? Bags has the Mets schedule here. And we talked about this series with Chicago. Like, hey, here's an opportunity to make up some serious ground head-to-head in the wild card standings. And then what's on the back end of that doesn't get any easier. But again, some head-to-head opportunities. So after you guys are finished with the Cubbies, Sean, you're going to play 3 against the Phillies. So this is the month of September for the Mets. So you're going to go to Philadelphia.
Yep.
You're going to play 3 against the Phillies to wrap up the weekend.
Yep. Then
you're on the road to play the Nationals. Both of these teams are ahead of the Mets in the wild card standings. And then Philadelphia again.
Yeah. This is so huge in terms of the make or break. And obviously the Cubs were the first part of this, okay? It was, here's our head-to-head opportunities. Chicago fighting for the wild card. Philly fighting for the wild card. Washington, same thing. And they're even now, I don't want to say they're uncatchable because they're not. But like this is it now against them. So you really... You're looking at making up, at this point, 6 games on the number 1 wild card spot. That's tough. You'd almost need a sweep there. But look, you only need the second wild card spot because if the game's on the road, who cares? You're throwing DeGrom, hopefully, in that 1 game. So, but look, I mean, Philadelphia again. And then when you talked about it, the back end here is where maybe you can make up some ground. So stay in the conversation.
Yeah, I mean, Arizona's not easy, but at least it's at home. And you're talking about, a 10-game home stretch here for the Mets in an important part of the schedule. So Arizona's not easy. They're not going to make a wild card spot, but people are still talking about them a little bit before you then have to deal with a team like the Dodgers. I mean, you do all that before you hit the soft spot in the schedule.
Right. So we'll know at the end of this weekend, by the 15th here, that Sunday game against the Dodgers, and that looks like it's an ESPN national game too, 7 o'clock. We're going to know after that game, okay, are we in reach here? Did we do enough through the games against the tougher teams to keep ourselves in the conversation? And if we did, now we got to go make our money because at Colorado and the Reds and then home for the Marlins. And then you talked about it, Atlanta might not be playing for anything here. So this could be 1, 2, 3, 4 series in a row where you could look at, boy, can we go win 10 of these 12 games or something like that.
I don't know about you, but I've got my eye on Saturday the 14th and Thursday the 26th as key games. That's Build-A-Bear Teddy Day at Citi Field, and then Bark at the Park late in the year.
That's kind of cold for a Bark in the Park.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Night game, Late September?
We're talking about the
You
giveaways now.
have to do what I hate what people do, and that is dress up the dog in a sweater or a sweatshirt or something, because it could be a little chilly for the dog.
How about the convertible mittens? Mittens to
It's
gloves.
like the wrap over kind of thing? No.
And the toy truck day.
Sure.
Yeah.
Hess is already promoting the toy truck for the
I know.
holiday season.
Sure.
It's already out.
Look, you got 2 day games. I don't know how, I haven't done the rotation here. 2 day games against Washington. You got to get DeGrom in one of those because he's just arguably the best pitcher in the history of baseball in the daytime. So get him in one of those big games.
I think he is the best pitcher. I mean, you look at the numbers.
He is.
Historically.
Statistically, he is.
Yeah, he's the best. All right, Yankees side of things, Aaron Judge, 3rd fastest to hit 100 home runs. Did it last night in Seattle, and he's coming around now. The West Coast trip has been really good for Judge, and 100 career home runs. He is only behind, you said, Ryan Howard and Gary Sanchez on the radio this morning. So a teammate of his, Sanchez, did it recently, 2nd fastest in baseball. They obviously needed to see him come around. Like, if we got to the middle of September and Judge was still in this slump and not hitting the ball hard, I think to be real concerned. What are we going to get out of this guy in October? You don't care so much.
I don't. When you turn the page and you now play...
You telling me the Yankees don't need Aaron Judge in order to be successful?
They do. But what I'm saying is what's happening now is no indication of what's going to happen when the games really matter for the Yankees.
Okay.
Yeah, I think in baseball in particular, when you turn the page to the playoffs, it is more a second season type of situation than any other sport. It really starts over.
Interesting.
And you could be extremely hot,
Yep.
and get the playoffs and stink. You could be nothing, and then it's the playoffs, and you raise your game, and you can be a guy who can carry a team. Well, I mean, how many great players have we seen go off the deep end in the playoffs?
Sure.
It happens a lot.
A lot.
So can the reverse happen? Sure.
So, like, for instance, go back 4 years, Daniel Murphy, who was he's a good major league hitter, but not to the degree the show he put on that postseason.
Yeah, all
was
the
off
home
the charts.
runs. Yeah.
You go back just 1 year ago, Steve Pearce is the MVP of the World Series. Anybody remember Steve Pearce? Do you know who Steve Pearce plays for other than the Red Sox? Do you know anything about him? Did you know he was on the Blue Jays before he came to Boston? He's the World Series MVP. He was that good in that span of time. Now, when you're talking about individual series, guys have a good 4 or 5 stretch, and that's kind of good enough. But you've seen the greats really not, like Barry Bonds, before the Giants went to the World Series in 2002, was like known as a bad playoff player.
Right.
Clayton Kershaw, everybody says he's a bad postseason pitcher. Now, if you really look at the numbers, he isn't, but that's the narrative now, is that he can't pitch in the big games. Even for my Braves, like Maddox and Glavine, you look at some of their postseason numbers, they're barely at 500 or they're below that. So, yeah, it is a little bit of a different beast for sure.
We're not going to look back, even if Judge is hot in the start of the playoffs, we're going to go back and say, boy, thank God he got it going when he did. And it's...
I don't know.
I'm not going
Okay,
to.
I think I might have said, look, this is where he broke out of the slump. And he's been good through September, and now it's carried into October. I think that says a lot, yeah.
I think you turn the page, it's all brand new.
Biggest concern for the Yankees for you is what?
Pitching. But I will say that Tanaka looked very good last night. And I said this on the radio a few minutes ago, he's got to be the ace.
Yeah.
He has got to be the guy who, like the legitimate playoff ace. When you go out there, you put him on the mound in game 1 or later in a series in a must-win or a series closeout type of situation possibly. He's the guy you want to be able to rely on. No matter what the offense is doing, which we expect to be good, when you need a good outing, it's got to come from Tanaka in the postseason because you're not sure it's going to come from other places.
Right, and now maybe we shouldn't read into it too much what happened last night. You've got the numbers in front of you. Tanaka's career record against the Seattle Mariners is basically perfect. He doesn't have a 0 ERA, but what are they exactly?
8-0, 1.89 ERA, and 10 starts.
So
it's a good sample.
Yeah, no doubt. But clearly he's got, the Mariners teams change every single year. Is this some kind of hold he has over the entire franchise? No. Why does he pitch so well against the Mariners? I have no idea. But the players they bring in every single year don't seem to be able to hit the Tanaka splitter.
Right. I mean, a lot of this is
It's
probably
random.
just coincidence.
I think so too.
Yeah. But, yeah, the fact that he was good last night, I don't care who he was against, that's the kind of thing where I would look for more than a guy who's in the lineup every day. Like, I want to see a pitcher having his best stuff. I think you're more likely, and while we have seen it with pitchers in the past, but I think you're more likely to, confidence is the biggest issue, right? And I want a pitcher to be confident taking the mound. Whereas a hitter, I think, in the playoffs will gain his confidence by how he does in his first few. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Whereas a pitcher, I think the prior history can more set the tone for you. But either way, the most important thing for the Yankees moving forward now is pitching. And you want guys to look good rather than look bad.
Back to Judge real quick. 100th career home run last night against the Mariners. Obviously, home runs are being hit at a historic pace across Major League Baseball. It isn't just one or two particular lineups that are doing this. It's everybody. So Judge hits 100 career home runs. Alonso breaks the Mets franchise record, not just for a rookie.
Right.
42 of them now. He probably ends up in the range of 50, if not more, with a month to go in the season. You're going to play 25 games or so. Can he hit 8 more home runs?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
He can.
I said this when Judge hit 52, and I'll say it here today too. I said it on the radio. I don't think Judge surpasses 52 in his career. People. I don't think people quite understand. Like, just because the guy did it once doesn't mean he's going to pop off again for 50 plus. I think that ends up being his career high when we look back at Judge's career. If Alonso hits 50, I think we're going to look back as he's 24 years old and say, hey, his rookie year, he hit more home runs than at any other point in his career. I think it's a real thing that, like, fans don't wrap their heads around. Fans, we are too quick to say, hey, we saw him do it early on. He's just going to do it again at some point. I don't buy into that.
But don't you think because of the change in the game and the gear toward the home run ball, don't you think that he could easily do it, or he could hit maybe 2 or 3 extra home runs on top of what he did this year next year? Could happen.
Yeah, it could. And look, Cody Bellinger is a guy who hit 39 his rookie season for the Dodgers. That was the National League rookie record before Alonso. And he has hit more home runs now this year than he did his rookie season. My point is 50, for me, is kind of that watermark, if you will. Like, to get over that twice in your career, we've seen very few players do it. And to be honest with you, most of them were juicing.
Right.
So McGuire did it,
Yep.
Bonds did it, Sosa did it, A-Rod, I'm pretty sure, did it more than 50, more than once in his career. I know at least once with 52 he won an MVP that year, or he hit 57 even one year too, I think. So my point is, a lot of clean guys don't do this.
Mm-hmm. No, you're right. I will say, looking ahead, we always like to project,
Yeah.
right? How many home runs you ultimately hit, and Judge fastest to 100, third fastest to 100. Everybody then is going to want to look ahead. Well, how many can he hit in his career? What it ultimately comes down to is health,
Yep.
right? And your longevity comes from not how fast you start. It just comes from how long you can play and how long you can stay on the field. Hank Aaron never hit 50 in a season.
Right.
So, and a lot of people would say he's still the all-time home run leader because they discredit Bonds. So you don't want to look ahead and start saying, well, he's going to hit this many, or we can start to target 500 or 600. You can't do that.
So do me a favor. I'm going to tell the people about Leah Infinity. Look up, Ryan Howard was the fastest guy to 100 home runs in his career. How many home runs did Howard finish his career with? Now, he was derailed by injury in his Phillies career, and his comeback never really came all the way back in Major League Baseball. But I'll tell you about Leah Infinity while Shawnee digs on the numbers here a little bit. The general manager is Steve Coons. The dealership is on Route 9 in Latham, convenient to alternate Route 7, 787, and of course the Northway 87. Pop into the showroom. Steve will let you test drive whatever the heck you want. He's taking vehicles off the showroom floor for us, and when you do test drive a Leah Infinity, you'll leave there saying, I don't want to drive anything else. This is luxury that I want to upgrade my lifestyle. And then Steve will make sure it's a payment that works for you, be it a lease, finance, whatever it is, without sacrificing all the other great things you want to do with your money. You shouldn't have to really overpay for a luxury car And that's why at Lee Infinity, they call it luxury for less. So check them out. Check out our videos Sean and I do right here on the 104.5 The Team ESPN Radio Facebook page as we test drive some of those cars and, of course, do sports talk in the car. All right, Bags. Ryan Howard, how many career home runs?
Baseball References, 382.
Yeah. Yeah. And he's the fastest guy to 100.
Right.
And he played in a tiny ballpark in Philadelphia.
He did.
And he hit mammoth home runs.
He did.
But didn't even get to 400.
Right.
Again, I'm just telling you, it's hard to hit 50 in a season, to duplicate the type of, and I know, look, I get that the philosophy of baseball has changed. Guys want to hit the ball in the air.
Yeah.
I get that the baseball itself, in terms of engineering, is different. But to hit 50 plus more than once in your career is asking a lot. Listen, the Mets before this year didn't have a guy in their entire history who hit more than 41.
Right. This guy, though, he's a monster. Talking about Alonso. I mean, Judges, too, obviously.
Yeah.
You said today, what, a third of his hits?
Third of his hits
are home runs. So it just seems to me like he's going to hit, and they don't like just get out. Most of his home runs
and the power to
bombs.
center and right center.
As I was going to say, he hits to all fields. I think that I wouldn't put it past. You're right. 50 is extremely difficult, but he's a rookie. You have his whole career left. I got to think he's going to be as good as his rookie year at least once more if he's healthy.
Okay, we'll see. NFL season is almost back. I mean, thank goodness.
Yes.
Right, like
We're
enough
here.
with the preseason. Preseason wraps up this week. We finally get football a week from Thursday. Packers Bears too.
I mean, that's
I'm
huge.
fired up,
Huge.
man. I get
Huge.
a little nervous about football because it's so fleeting.
Yeah.
It's once you feel like you drop one and it's like, well, this season isn't going to go well. You'll lose the opener and it's like that. Remember last year's opener against the Bears? Packers-Bears was a Sunday night game. Rodgers injures the knee, but comes back, can't really move, and engineers game-winning drives, and they end up beating. And it's like, okay, now, oh no, we're not going places. You lose the open. There's something about losing an opener that just deflates you more than any other game in the season. So I'm
and
fired
in football
up.
in particular, right?
I'm fired up for kickoff, man. Packers and Bears, the 100th season of the NFL, the two oldest franchises.
You have a cheesehead
Yeah, there it is, man.
behind you.
Rodgers jersey behind me. Yeah. Favre jersey at home.
Of course. Now you will never wear your jersey sitting at home.
Oh, sitting at home? What are you kidding me?
But to a game you wouldn't?
No, probably not.
Really?
Yeah. Not a big wearer of jerseys guy.
You've never been to Lambeau.
People wear jerseys sitting at home by themselves watching a game?
Some probably do. But a lot of people do to the game, for sure.
Oh, no doubt.
Yeah.
To the game,
Which
out to
I
the
would do.
bar,
Yeah,
whatever.
sure.
Yeah.
You've never been to Lambeau.
Never been
Is
to
this
Lambeau,
the
man.
year?
No, it's not.
Why not? Because you're getting married.
Planning a wedding.
No money.
I can't. I don't think I could get away with that. The problem is then you're married, and then you can't do anything, is what people tell me.
You've hinted at a potential bachelor party at Lambeau.
Yeah, you shot that down immediately. You're like, you can't have a bachelor. You're getting married in June. You can't have a bachelor party in like December before a wedding. I said, why not? This is the last football season they're going to play before the wedding day.
Yeah. I mean, look, it's your wedding. Do what you want. It's your bachelor party. I'm just saying that they're traditionally held a little bit closer to the wedding, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
no doubt. But a trip to Lambeau would be fun.
That would be.
I've never been. I need to get there. Have to get there.
You have to get there. And do you want to sit in the seats where they could Lambeau leap into you, or
No.
you want just good seats?
Guys, get me in the building.
Yeah.
I don't need to.
I'm shocked you've never been.
Just put me in the. I don't care if the seats are good, bad. Put me in the building. I'm good.
Okay.
Little tailgate. Perfect.
All right.
Yeah.
What did we want to talk about?
Don't need any
Football.
more of that.
Football's here.
Yeah, football is here.
Okay.
But my here's my point. Hard Knocks last night,
Yes.
and transitioning from the Packers, they played the last preseason game against the Raiders in Canada, Winnipeg, where they play Canadian football, where they put the field goal posts at the front of the end zones, not the back. So they dig up the field goal posts, They move them to the back of the end zone, and then they're trying to fill in the hole with more of the rubber pellets, more of the fake grass, and it's not working. So what did they do last week? They didn't play on a 100-yard field the way you usually see it. They played on an 80-yard field, and they didn't do kickoffs.
No, they didn't. And by the way, it was the Packers.
What are we doing here?
According to Hard Knocks, it was the Packers team doctors who said no.
Oh, yeah, they held out 33 guys from that game.
Yeah.
Green Bay did. Yes, good. I wouldn't have played a down. I would have said, we're going home.
See, Gruden was like, we'll play. We're playing it.
Gruden, I love him. I've said it, but he's a little too much.
Is he?
Yes.
My favorite part of Hard Knocks yesterday is when he's sort of busting on the officials about the field, and he's saying, like, okay, so I'm glad you guys really have a handle on this. So we're not going to do kickoffs now, and then he's saying, like, I'm sure the league will see this, and we won't be doing any kickoffs now. We'll just change everything like we're already doing. So I like that he was kind of having fun with them about that. He was not happy.
Wait a minute.
He was not happy.
Can you explain to me why they even play this game? If somebody said to you, like, well, there's a problem in left field, so we're going to play the game, spring training, but we're blocking off left field.
You play it because it doesn't matter.
To center and right. But if let's say it's spring training, baseball's not going to say you can't hit it to one particular field. Like, they had no end zones. They started the end zones at the 10-yard line.
That's the end zone.
And
the
what
10's
if a
at the
guy
goal
goes
line
running through the end zone?
And you're in a bounds.
And now you're in the, okay, but now put my foot in the hole that they couldn't fix.
No.
Now I've got a torn ACL.
No.
And now what?
No.
Why would you even play that game 80-yard field?
Did anybody get hurt?
How is that effective anyway? Like, hey, this is going to show us something. You're playing on a short field.
Because it's basically a practice anyway, right? You've got the two teams all the way to Canada.
I hear you, man.
This isn't, in your backyard.
Yep.
You got the two teams all the way to Canada.
Yep.
It's a practice anyway. I mean, does it really matter how big the field is if it's about, hey, let's put our offense on the field and your defense and we'll do a drive and who cares? I mean, you want to see how your team puts together a drive. So what if the field is short?
Here's a good idea. Play NFL football on NFL fields.
I'm with you there.
Don't play the Hall of Fame game in Canton, which they had to cancel 3 years ago. That was a Packers game, too. The field was unplayable.
Yeah.
And both teams went all the way to Ohio, and they didn't play a game. Then they went home.
Ohio, all the way to Winnipeg.
Okay, Mexico City has been a disaster in the past. You go to Winnipeg for a preseason game, it's a joke. London has been able to handle it. You want to go to London to play a preseason game? I don't love the idea, but fine. Let's play NFL games on NFL fields.
I'm okay with the preseason being played away from NFL
Not
fields.
when you can't play the game.
But to me, the bigger issue is the regular season games. I hate that teams go to London. I hate that. That's not right. First of all, somebody has to lose a home game, which is
I know.
when you only have 8. That's an atrocity, frankly. Okay,
Yep.
The league should not allow that. But yeah, you want to waste a preseason game by going to Canada, whatever. And Gruden didn't take a bunch of guys, and you said the Packers kept guys out. It is what it is. It's the 3rd preseason game. Who cares where you play it? You can play it at Shen if you want.
Now, they do say the 3rd preseason game is the most important game. But here's what we've learned. And we had Bob Wischusen, who's the voice of the Jets on the radio this morning. Didn't have time to ask him this question, but I'm curious. Like, we have to be incredibly close to doing away with 2 preseason games.
I would
Shortening
hope.
it on some level. Maybe it's down to 3. I don't know. But
Yeah.
But the Jets have said we're not playing Le'Veon Bell.
No.
I don't think the Cowboys could care less that Ezekiel Elliott isn't on the field.
And I think the 3rd game, there used to kind of be a formula. Here's what you do in the 1st, the 2nd, and the 3rd game you see more at the start. I think even that we're seeing guys.
Giants haven't played Saquon Barkley.
No.
Brady only played the 3rd preseason game. Aaron Rodgers hasn't seen the field yet. I don't think teams care anymore.
No.
Like, if you're practicing with us, that's going to be good enough. The Cowboys would like to have Ezekiel Elliott practicing. Don't get me wrong.
Sure.
I think they say, if you're practicing with us, we're good. We don't need you out on the field in a preseason game. So the NFL's got to take a real look at this because fans have to buy. If you're a season ticket holder, you have to buy tickets to those 2 preseason games. And if I'm a fan, I'm upset by not being able to see some of these stars out there. And if I'm the NFL, take a page out of the NBA's book. If you're healthy, you got to play games. So let's figure this thing out. We go to 18 regular season and 2 preseason might be the move that's coming here very, very shortly.
It's just a lot of regular season games. I think it's perfect where it is.
I
know,
agree,
I'd like to shorten.
I know. No way you're going to take away from one and not give to the other.
Yeah.
All right, let's do 0, 50, or 100 here, which we do every week on Onorato and Bagnardi right here on the 104.5 The Team ESPN Radio Facebook page. Bags has them in front of him here. Why don't you take this for a spin?
I'll take this
Go
for
ahead,
a spin.
Man.
All right. 0, 50, or 100, Chris?
You don't have to, like, perform it. This isn't a theatrical play. You could just read them. Like, you don't have to clear your throat and go through, like, okay, let me project now
well, you
as
have to
if
have
I'm
kind of
playing to an audience.
Yeah, you have to have, like, a different voice. Because, like, an intern or somebody we've normally had
have
do
a
it.
different voice. Yeah, okay.
Chris, 0, 50, or 100. Andrew Luck's retirement is the most surprising in sports history.
Boy.
We just did this on the radio. Do you have to think about it?
I'm going 0 here.
Yeah.
But
I'm steal my answer.
But I'm stealing your answer.
Go ahead.
So here's the deal. But there have been others. So somebody tweeted at me after the radio show that there were other more surprising retirements than Andrew Luck's, and I won't steal your answer here. Barry Sanders, for one. We all think about him. He was second all-time in rushing when he retired. Had a 2,000-yard season, and then decides he's walking away. Thing is, he was on the other side of 30. Luck is not. Luck is only 29. He played at a different time, had played for more than 10 seasons in the NFL.
And was a running back.
So a little more mileage and wear and tear on the body. Okay, fine. How about a guy like this, and I'm taking it from Twitter, Sandy Koufax, man. Sandy Koufax walked away, I think he was 30 years old, and he's arguably one of the greatest pitchers of all time. Imagine if he pitched deeper into his career than he did. A lot of guys back in the day that you and I don't think about walked away at a younger age and probably would have been thought more highly of in terms of history had they not. So Koufax is a big one for me.
Okay. My answer is 0 as well. And the reason I gave you on the radio is because of Michael Jordan. He was at the peak of his game, at the peak of the game. I mean, he was just... They won 3 in a row, and you were already hearing best of all time with him at that point, and he walked away.
Some outside factors, though, of course, the death of his father played into that. What the desire was to play baseball, I have no idea.
Well, because I think a lot of it had to do with his father, but you know, it's
Magic Johnson.
But to me, that one always has to be the most surprising because he was not just like a great player. Like Andrew Luck's a great player. He was like the best.
Yes.
The best.
Yeah.
And coming off of 3 wins in a row. And we talked about John Elway on radio, like guys who go out on top. Like that's totally different. Everybody knew there was much more left in the tank with Jordan, and he proved it when he came back. So that to me is number 1 most surprising.
Okay. All right. Luck, 29. I mean, his retirement is kind of like one of those where you'll remember where you were when.
Yeah. And look, Jordan didn't stay retired, and maybe Luck won't either.
I know you're big on that, man.
I'm big on in a year from now, different story.
Okay.
And Bob Wischusen had some good points on the radio,
Yeah.
talking about Bell for the Jets taking that year off and basically saying, like, look, I don't even remember the last injury I had because I feel better than I felt in a long time now. And I think a guy like Luck at his age, with his talent level, a year from now might start feeling the same way and think, boy, maybe I should go back on the field.
If you want to hear the Wischusen interview with us, if you're a Jets fan or just an NFL fan, if you want to catch that interview, it'll be up on Twitter later this afternoon. Check that out. I'm at Chris Onorato. He's at Sean Bagnardi.
All right, 0, 50, or 100. Number 2 here, Major League Baseball's Players Weekend is a failed experiment.
Now, this should have been a did you see this? It's just coming to my mind now. It should have been a did you see this because it's such an absolute joke.
Well, I think everybody did see it. It was all weekend.
You're saying it's a failed experiment, it's 100. It's just so stupid. I've never liked it because guys put nicknames on the backs of the jerseys that aren't even really their nicknames.
Right. Because not everybody has a nickname.
So then why are we doing this?
Look, I agree.
If not everybody has a nickname, let's just skip the, hey, you know what, not a great idea. Do some cool different jerseys, like that's fine. But the nickname thing makes me crazy because you have, and I use this example. The Braves starting pitcher on Sunday against the Mets. It was the last day of Players Weekend across Major League Baseball.
Yep.
And if you watch a baseball game on TV, you know that the pitcher stands with their back to the camera 98% of the time.
Yeah.
So I turn on the Mets-Braves game, and I know Dallas Keuchel is pitching. I didn't know what his nickname was. And it says Big D on the back of his jersey. Now, we can take that a few different ways. His first name is Dallas.
Dallas, Big D. That's what they call the city.
He's not from Dallas, which, right, is Big D.
Yeah.
Do you want, if you're baseball, do you want one of the nicknames on the back? So this isn't just a position player who's up 4 times a game and you never see the back of their jersey when they're playing the field. This is the pitcher. The pitcher who only plays really with his back to the camera and the rest of the field. Big D. All game. I'm looking at this. I'm thinking, what a disaster. The jerseys are a joke. Now this is just the perfect way to end what is a stupid idea.
So you really had a problem with it?
Yeah, first of all, Big D is...
You're offended by that?
No, you get a little bit of a chuckle.
Of course.
But the other nicknames are just stupid. They're not nicknames. They're not nicknames.
And DeGrom went with DeGrom.
DeGrom.
I know, weird.
What are we doing?
Okay, I'm 100, and now wait a minute.
I know.
Now you can't. It's 100, but you can't see it, and that's why this is 100, Chris. The stupid white uniform, the black were bad. The white are so bad because you can't read the names or numbers on the back. All you get is this. You get white. So I can't. We're gonna do this nickname thing, and we can't even see half of the players' nicknames or their numbers and figure out who the heck is who, because for some reason it's like a complete whiteout. Does not look good on camera. Probably didn't look great in person.
No.
Why are we doing that? So I had a problem with the jerseys much more than I did with the nicknames. They've done the nicknames in the past. It is what it is. I like the idea of like a color rush kind of uniform for a weekend, but make it team specific. Like I'd have rather seen the Mets out there as bad as it would have been in like all orange.
Yeah, I'm with you there. That's cool. I like that
You know,
idea,
Braves
actually.
could have been all red.
Yep.
You know, something like that where it's like head to toe, the pants match, whatever. But the white, first of all, black and white just is boring.
Yeah.
It doesn't look good.
Right.
But the all white, when you can't read it, it totally defeats the purpose.
Dave Spears says uniforms were awful. I think most people are in agreement on this.
Everybody's in agreement.
Yeah, pretty
on that.
much. I mean, anybody like I follow on Twitter who covers baseball across the league, like this is just awful.
And the league will feel the pain if nobody goes out and buys them.
Yeah.
Which I'm sure.
Although you know what?
Who bought them?
If you were to buy one of them, the white or the black, which would you buy?
I'd go white polar bear.
I would buy the white too. As awful as they were to look at on TV, if I were forced to buy one of them,
Yeah.
I'd buy the white ones.
They had to be for sale in stadiums too, right?
Yeah, I'm sure.
I mean, that's a nightmare.
Did you see Kike Hernandez?
Because nobody in the stands was wearing them.
No.
So nobody bought them.
Yeah, maybe not. Kike, who plays for the Dodgers, Kike Hernandez, put, I mean, this was a concerted effort because they gave brand new helmets to the guys. He had pine tar everywhere on the front of his helmet that then you could see the LA logo. Okay. Otherwise, you couldn't see the logo.
Right.
So he basically like
made it
colored around it. So then the LA actually did pop out. Yeah, that was a bad idea. Failed idea.
Failed idea. Yeah. It's something that I like the idea of a player's weekend. That's kind of like, do something different.
Yeah, look, I like the color rush idea, but I don't know that it allows these guys to personalize things. Like if it's Players Weekend, they should have some say in what they're wearing, whatever. Somebody brought up the idea of like, let them design some really cool cleats to wear for the weekend. And those get auctioned off and it goes to charity or something like that.
Yeah.
I'd be down with that.
Oh, these jerseys are going to wind up, you know, like when they have all the shirts made for like the Super Bowl champions for the team that loses. They then like ship them to like Uganda or something.
Yep.
That's where all these have to go. Right? They have to. Put them on the boat. Get them out of the country. Deport them. We're deporting these uniforms. Right?
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Number 3. This is all you, by the way, on this one. 0, 50, or 100. our country's chicken sandwich craze
Yeah.
has reached absurd levels.
How have you not seen this?
Haven't seen this.
So people on Facebook, clue Sean into this a little bit, would you please?
Yeah,
There are
please.
memes everywhere on social media about the Popeyes chicken sandwich. Yes, we have reached an absurd level when it comes to fast food. Look, everybody loves a good In-N-Out burger if you hit the West Coast. I understand that. Chick-fil-A has kind of overtaken some of this stuff. It's crazy. I'm sure I've had Chick-fil-A in my life. I don't remember it. So people will get mad at me about that. But Popeyes comes out with a chicken sandwich. By the way, this is a chicken joint that
You're right.
didn't have a chicken sandwich prior. I don't quite know the backstory in this.
Well,
but
they have all
is-
chicken sandwiches,
I
right?
would think so. They come out with a chicken sandwich. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram loses its mind. They're making memes of the Popeyes chicken sandwich versus the Chick-fil-A chicken sandwich. Who cares?
Who cares?
It's a fast food chicken sandwich. I mean, honestly, I'm sure it tastes pretty good, but to like obsess over this fried piece of chicken, people, we got better things to worry about here.
Okay, I'm a 50 on this one because I'll have to take your word for it. I can't go 100 because I haven't seen it, but I will take your word for it, and I'll just say in general that the fast food obsession is a big problem. America's got a problem, okay, with fast food. I'm seeing all this stuff about the meatless burger.
Yeah, the Impossible Burger. Have you seen that?
What are we doing?
We're giving, fast food joints are giving vegetarians an option
If you want
other than the
a
fish
burger,
fillet.
if you want a burger, so you're just so hungry for a burger, and you go to a fast food joint to get a burger, you're now getting an all veggie thing here, a burger that's not real because
yeah.
it tastes like they say because it
You're not gonna
tastes exactly
order that if you're a
right.
meat
So why
eater.
are they selling it?
It's apparently selling well.
I don't get it. I don't get it.
I don't know what to tell you.
But
Is that Burger King or McDonald's? The Impossible.
isn't that Burger King? I
Yeah,
think?
is it the Whopper? Impossible Whopper? Something like that?
I don't know. The biggest issue I have though is the social media. Nobody cares that you went out and got. If you want to go out and get a chicken sandwich, fine. But then you share it all over. My God, who cares?
I don't know.
And to compare them, we have to have more important things to worry about.
Well, of course we do.
And look, most of
We just choose
what
not
we
to,
talk
I
about is
guess.
trivial, right? This whole show is trivial.
Yeah, feeling pretty trivial right now.
Okay, but this particular thing is like, and I said on radio, if you specifically leave your house to go get a chicken sandwich from Popeyes, you got a problem. You got a legitimate problem. Like there's one thing you're out and you're like, hey, I saw that advertised. I think I'll try that. Okay, or hey, you're out kind of hungry. Hey, well, we did see that thing advertised. There's a Popeyes down the street. But if you are at home and you say, I'm hungry, and you leave specifically to get that, big problems. Go shopping. It's cheaper to go shopping.
Okay, fine. But don't you leave your house for other purposes because of advertising? That's
I don't
a
know.
yes.
Is
he
it?
waits that long, it's a yes.
I don't know.
Of course.
Like what?
Listen, people wouldn't spend money to advertise if it didn't work. People constantly leave their house for the purpose of getting a sole product.
Well, like, okay, you need a new car.
Well, that's,
You
yeah.
decide where
It's
you're
a
going to
big
go
purchase.
maybe based on advertising and whatnot, sure. But, and that's something you like leave your house to go do. But I feel like most of the other advertising, it's more about the subliminal, like, well, you're out and you see something and you make that connection with seeing it advertised, then you go get it. Unless it's a major purchase like a car or something for your house or whatever. I think that a lot of the advertising, like, okay, I'm out and I see the pumpkin spice thing at Dunkin' Donuts. Oh, well, it more works that way. I'm not going out to go get that. I'm going to work and I'll get it because I want a coffee.
Speaking of seeing things, did you see this?
Yes, we do.
Every week. What did you see in the last week that jumped other than, I like the invisible ink idea. That was pretty good.
Yeah.
We saw the awful uniforms. That could have been a did you see this? I'm glad it wasn't.
You're going to go first, though, because mine's second on the slide.
Perfect. So here's my did you see this? And we talked about it on the radio show this morning. Could Carly Lloyd actually be an NFL kicker? And maybe the larger discussion is, could a female be an NFL kicker one day? So here's Carly Lloyd, 55-yard field goal. She's at Ravens-Eagles practice. This is last week. And, of course, she's a great soccer player for the U.S. women's national team. And what do you know?
Good snap, good hold.
I mean, look at the form, too.
Wow.
Like, balanced, swing the leg
That's
through.
money.
I mean, that's as well as you can do it. And so her longtime coach, not the U.S. women's national team coach, but her longtime personal coach said she might really try this thing. Not till 2020, so next season, but she might really give this thing a go. How about that?
Wait, that's the thin...
No, there was something else going on back there.
Oh, all right.
But look at the form, man.
Well, that was dead center.
And Carly, I don't know why I've seen Tony Danza, but Carly Lloyd said, like, I worked at this a little bit. Yeah, I'm not just going to go out there willy-nilly and try it. So
Yeah.
she worked at it a little bit. Good for her.
Good for her.
I think a female could certainly kick in the NFL.
Yeah, there's no reason why a woman couldn't be a kicker.
Yeah.
I would have concerns about, the skill position,
Of course.
type of things, just because of injury.
Size, speed,
Their
all of
bodies
it.
are built differently than.
Correct.
Now, look, could some women who are in the WNBA be physically able to? I mean, they're not going to be able to physically compete necessarily with the men because of the athleticism and the sheer size, but could they go out there and not get beat up or hurt? Yeah.
Yeah.
But in football, I don't know. No. But
You wouldn't put one of us out there.
exactly. Right. It's sort of the same idea. And that's not to say that there will never be a woman who couldn't, be a running back or something. Sure. Anything is possible. But just kind of in general, you would say no, just because of that
Right.
sheer
And again,
size
it may not
and
be
bone
Lloyd,
structure and
but a female, yeah, at some point, sure, I could see it happening.
it'd be great.
It'd be
great
awesome.
for the sport.
Oh, it'd be awesome.
It'd be cool.
Yeah.
And I don't know that it'll be her. I almost feel like this is kind of more gimmicky. She's 30 what?
37.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not that that necessarily matters for a kicker, but I think it will happen at some point. I don't think it necessarily will be her in 2020, but I think it'll happen.
All right, what'd you see?
Okay. I saw this clown.
Who is this guy?
You know who this guy is?
Well, yeah, unfortunately, I think I
Okay, look at him. Look at this. Look at this. This is just a quick little
Now-
hitter video, but look at this. This is Aaron Rodgers in Canada.
Yeah.
Okay, before the game that we were talking about earlier against the Raiders.
Yeah.
Gets off the airplane here in Winnipeg. Look at this denim look and the mustache.
That's the Canadian tuxedo.
It's the Canadian
Denim.
tuxedo. Look at this. Look at this.
Boy.
This is your guy.
He is my guy, you're right. That video looked like a fake mustache. That one's real.
Let's go back.
Look at this.
This is.
Doesn't this look fake? Am I wrong? It looks fake. It's dark. It's. If you go back and look at the other picture, you can see.
Are we breaking this down?
There's some gray in here. It's a little more defined the way hair would be. The other one looks like the old Bobby Valentine glued, taped on.
This is your guy. You're hanging his jersey up behind you in
there
our
it
show.
is. He's a two-time MVP, won a Super Bowl. A lot of people have said he's the best quarterback they've ever seen in terms of the full package. Arm strength, mobility, all of it.
Yeah.
Smarts, accuracy.
Is he doing this to be funny?
Yes. Look, it's the Levi's even too.
Is it funny?
I'm not amused by it, but I know plenty people are. You're chuckling.
It's like an SNL skit with this
it
guy
is.
all the time.
Yeah, he's a different dude.
Is he worried about football? He'll be fine.
He'll be fine.
He is as competitive as they come.
Incredibly competitive.
He's not. I wouldn't say he's basically on the Brady level when it comes to getting in guys' faces and stuff like that.
Right.
Like
and I wonder if people would say he's a great teammate. They may not.
Probably not.
Wants to win.
Wants to win. No doubt about it.
Sometimes the blame is shouldered elsewhere.
Like the coach. Yes. Is Green Bay, what's their over-under? Do you know? Are they going to be good this year?
They should be good. Look, they should be fine. That division's difficult. Minnesota's going to be good. I know Kirk Cousins not going to be great. Chicago's really good.
They're good. They're good.
But the Packers should be, look. The head coach is out. So no more excuses. I don't want to hear it. They spent a ton of money on the defensive side of the ball. I don't love the receiving group. That's what worries me most about this team is the wide receivers.
Okay.
But when you have a quarterback as great as Aaron Rodgers, you better make those receivers look good because Tom Brady hasn't played with a Hall of Fame receiver in his lifetime. So let's go.
Yeah.
Let's
Well, he
go.
played with Randy Moss.
Yeah, I know. 2 years. Didn't work.
They went
Almost.
undefeated.
Yeah, till they weren't.
Yeah.
Till they weren't. And what matters the most? The last game of the year when you get to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
All right, we're back next week. UAlbany football head coach Greg Gattuso. Great Danes season kicks off this week. They'll be at home next weekend. And if everything works out, we're going to do it from an Italian restaurant.
Really?
Yeah, because at some point, we need to be fed.
So they're going to bring us food during the show?
That's the idea.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, could be fun.
Yeah.
Come
Look
hang out
forward
with
to
us
that.
next week. It'll be our final Wednesday show before the what?
The first Monday after the first Sunday of the football season.
Thanks for hanging out, everyone. Onorato Bagnardi. We'll see you this time next week.